Hello everyone. සුබ සන්ධ්‍යාවක් සියලු දෙනාටම. අද මේ ඉතා වැදගත් ටොපික් එකක් අපි කතා කරන්න බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ. ඒකට හැම දෙනාගේම සහයෝගයට වඩා සහයෝගයත් ඒ වගේම මේ අදහසුත් අවශ්‍යයි. අපි අද කතා කරන්න යන්නේ potentially executable critical election system changes. ඒ කියන්නේ election system changes අපිට කරන්න පුළුවන් දේවල් මොනවද කියන එක ගැන තමයි අද අපි කතා කරන්නේ. ඒකේ ඉතින් අපි ඩ්‍රාෆ්ට් කරපු දැනට ඩිස්කස් කරලා අපි හිතාගත දේවල් ඔක්කොම ඒක ඇතුල් කරලා තියෙනවා. මොකද ඒක අපි ඉලෙක්ෂන් කමිෂන් එකේ මාරු කරන්න බැරි වුණත් ඒක හැමෝම දැනුවත් වීමට වැදගත් වෙයි කියලා හිතන නිසා ඒ අවශ්‍ය දේවල් හැම දෙයක්ම අපි ඩ්‍රාෆ්ට් ලෙටර් එකේ ඉන්ක්ලූඩ් කරලා තියෙනවා. එතකොට ඒ ඩ්‍රාෆ්ට් ලෙටර් එක අපි සර්කියුලේට් කරා. ඒක ගැන කතා කරන්න තමයි බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ. ඉතින් ඊට ඉස්සෙල්ලා ඇයි මේකට අපි ආවේ? එතකොට අපි තව අනවුන්ස්මන්ට් දෙකකුත් තියෙනවා. ඒකත් මේ ගමන්ම කරන්න තමයි බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ. මම ඉංග්‍රීසියෙන් සිංහලෙන් දෙකෙන්ම කතා කරන්නම්. මොකද අර මේක ලින්ක් එක කොපි කරනකොට සමහරට සිංහලෙන් විතරක් තේරෙන්නයි ඉන්න පුළුවන්. දෙමළෙනුත් කරා නම් හොඳයි. හැබැයි ඒ වුණාට අද මට ඒකට ශක්තියක් නැහැ කරන්න. හැබැයි කවුරු හරි ට්‍රාන්ස්ලේට් කරනවා නම් ඒකත් ලොකු දෙයක්. එතකොට we start today system changes. දැන් system change එකක් ඕනේ කියලා අපි දැන් අවුරුදු දෙකක් වෙනවා මේක ගැන කතා කරලා අරගලය කියලා අපේ ව්‍යාපාරයක් තිබුණා. ඒක කවුරුත් කරපු දෙයක් නෙමෙයි මිනිස්සුන්ම කරපු දෙයක්. ඒකේ system change request එකක් ආවා. ඒ request එක ආවට ඒ request එක crush කරා. crush කරලා දැන් අපි අන්තිමට ඉස්සෙල්ලා හිටපු තැනටම ගිහිල්ලා තියෙනවා. ඒක තමයි වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. So ඉතින් අපි මේක දැන් මේක කරගෙන යනකොට අපි කතා කරමු. ඊ අතර chat එකෙත් දැනට වෙන දේවල් ගැනත් විස්තර තියෙනවා. ඒකත් බලන්න. So what we need to see understand is exactly why we are coming into this thing and focusing on this. Now ලංකාව bankrupt වෙලා කියලා declare වුණේ 12th April 2022. අපි තියුණා අපිට ඉස්සෙල්ලම power crisis එකකින් තමයි පටන් ගත්තේ. ඉතින් ඊට පස්සේ power crisis එක ගොඩක් වැඩි වෙලා දැන් තියෙන තත්ත්වය වුණාම bankrupt in many economic පැත්ත විතරක් නෙමෙයි law and order එක bankrupt. power crisis එක තාම තියෙනවා පුදුම ගණන්. එතකොට education පැත්තෙන් ලොකු crisis එකක් තියෙනවා. මොකද ගොඩක් උගන්වන්න පුළුවන් අය ටීචර්ස්ලා හැමත් brain drain එකක් තියුණු නිසා හෙල්ත් කෙයා එකේ ලොකු ක්‍රයිසිස් එකක් තියෙනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ මෙඩිසින්ස් වල ප්‍රොබ්ලම්ස්, එතකොට ස්ටාෆ් ප්‍රොබ්ලම්ස් තියෙනවා. ඉම්පෝර්ට් කරපු බෙහෙත් වල ක්වොලිටි නැති ප්‍රොබ්ලම්ස්, ඒ වගේ දේවල් තියෙනවා. එතකොට malnourishment ඉෂුව එකකුත් තියෙනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ malnutrition ඇති වෙන තත්ත්වයකුත් ලොකුට ඇති වෙලා තියෙනවා. එතකොට social welfare ගැන ඒ ගැන වැඩි දෙයක් ඇත්තෙම නැහැ. corruption levels තියුණු වඩාත් වැඩි තරමට තියෙන තත්ත්වයක් තමයි තියෙන්නේ. ඒ තත්ත්වයකට තමයි දැන් අපි බැංක්‍රප්ට් ගිහිල්ලා අවුරුද්දක් යනකොට ඇවිල්ලා තියෙන්නේ. ඉතින් මේකට මොකද මෙහෙම වුනේ කියන එක ගැන ඉස්සෙල්ලා පොඩ්ඩක් තේරුම් ගත්තොත් හිතේ අපි මේ ඉලෙක්ෂන් සිස්ටම් එක ගැන කතා කරන්න යන්නේ මොකද කියලා. ඉලෙක්ෂන් සිස්ටම් එක අපේ මේකට එක හේතුවක් significant root cause කියලා මේ අපි කතා කරලා තියෙන මීට ඉස්සෙල්ලා. මොකද ගොඩක් දේවල් ප්‍රශ්න ගැන කතා කරගෙන යනකොට අන්තිමට පොලිසිස් වල තියෙන ප්‍රශ්නයක් ගැන කතාවක් ඇති වෙන නිසා. ඉතින් ඒක නිසා තමයි අපි මේ ඉලෙක්ෂන් සිස්ටම් එක ගැන බැලුවේ. එතකොට ශ්‍රී ලංකා bankrupted by politician කියන ස්ටේට්මන්ට් එක ගොඩක් වෙලාවට 100%ක් හරි. මොකද ඒක මිනිස්සු කරපු දෙයක් නෙමෙයි පොලිටිෂියන්ස් ළම කරපු දෙයක් තමයි. එතකොට අද තියෙන සර්වේ එකක් බැලුවොත් සෙන්සස් එකේ 60% of the household experience reduce average monthly income. income එක අඩු වෙච්ච පවුල් ගාන 160ක්. එතකොට 160ක් දැන්ට ලංකාවේ ඉන්න අය දැන් අවුරුදු දෙකකට ඉස්සෙල්ලා බැලුවට වඩා eat less, seek treatment less, spend less on educational materials as coping strategies. එතකොට ඒකත් නෙගටිව් පැත්තකට යන පැත්තක් තියෙනවා. එතකොට nearly 1 million electricity subscribers were disconnected last year. හැබැයි ඒක බැලුවහම පේනවා ඒ ඉලෙක්ට්‍රිසිටි බිල් ගෙවා ගන්න බැරි නිසා මිනිස්සු ඉලෙක්ට්‍රිසිටි ඩිස්කනෙක්ට් කළා. එතකොට වෙල්ත් එක බලනකොට the top 1% in the country own 31% of the total personal wealth in the country, whereas the bottom 50% owns less than 4% of the total wealth. එතකොට හිතා ගන්න පුළුවන් කොහොමද unequal situation එක මෙච්චර එකක් ක්‍රියාත්මක වෙන්නේ කොහොමද කියන එකත් හිතා ගන්න පුළුවන්. එතකොට අරගලයේ තියුණු කාලේ දැන් අරගලයේ අපිට මතකයි හොඳටම මේ මිනිස්සු හැම ජාතියෙම හැම වයසෙම හැම ජොබ් කරපු කට්ටිය. එතකොට කිසිම ભેදයක් නැතුව එකම දෙයක් ඉල්ලුවා. ඉල්ලුවේ we need a system change. now මේ system change කියන එක කිව්වට මොකද්ද මේ system change කියන එක හරියටම කියාගන්න බැරි වුණා. system change එකක් අවශ්‍ය කියලා තියුණා. ඒ වුණාට ඒකට outcome ඒ කියන්නේ what is the system change කියන එක ඉවෙන්ට් වශයෙන් කියන්න බැරි වුණාට we need a governance change එකක් ඕනේ කියන එක තමයි කිව්වේ. ඉතින් එහෙම කිව්වහම ඒකේ outcome එක ඒගොල්ලෝ බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ 1 + 2 to 5 out. ඒ කියන්නේ එතකොට හිටපු ඩෙමොක්‍රටිකලි පත් කරපු ප්‍රෙසිඩන්ට් සහ පාර්ලිමේන්තු එක සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම ගෙදර යන්න කතාවක් තමයි කිව්වේ. ඉතින් ඒ කිව්වේ ඒක තමයි outcome එක. ඒ කියන්නේ අපේ තියෙන විදියේ අපේ තියෙන සිස්ටම් එකෙන් මේ ඇති කරපු 226 දෙනාට මේ රට කරගෙන යන්න බෑ. ඒ ගවර්නන්ස් එක කරගෙන යන්න බෑ කියන එක. So ඒක තමයි ඒකෙන් තියුණු මේ අදහස දැනගන්න පුළුවන් වුණු දේ. මේ මිනිස්සු කියපු දේ. ඒ වුණාට අපි ඒක හරියට තේරුම් අරගෙන විස්තර කරන්න ගියන් නැතුව ඒක ක්‍රෂ් කරලා ඔටෝක්‍රැටික් පැත්තකට යන්න පටන් ගත්තා. එතකොට අපි පොඩ්ඩක් මේක විශ්ලේෂණය කරලා බැලුවොත් system conditions are the things that explain why a system behaves in the way it does. එතකොට මොන හරි සිස්ටම් එකක කන්ඩිෂන්ස් වල හැටියට නිසා තමයි ඒ සිස්ටම් එක ඒ විදිහට වෙන්නේ. ඉතින් ඒක නිසා තමයි මේ 225 226 යන්න ඕනේ කියලා කිව්වේ. මොකද ගොඩක් අය හිතුවේ මේ සිස්ටම් කන්ඩිෂන් එක ඇති වෙලා තියෙන්නේ මේ ඉන්න කට්ටිය නිසා කියලා. හරි. Then they form the framework within which those delivering any service have to operate. එතකොට මේ සිස්ටම් කන්ඩිෂන්ස් වලින් හදන ෆ්‍රේම්වර්ක් එක ඇතුලේ තමයි ඔක්කොම සර්විසස් ඔපරේට් වෙන්නේ. ඉතින් ඒක නිසා තමයි මේ ගවර්න්මන්ට් ආකිටෙක්චර් එකේ තියෙන ප්‍රශ්නයක් තියෙනවා කියන එක තමයි ඒකෙන් එතකොට අපිට පිළිඹු වෙලා වෙන්නේ. එතකොට මේ දෙක ඉම්පෝර්ටන්ට්. මොකද හේතුව මේකෙන් තමයි අපි පර්ෆෝමන්ස් එක පොසිටිව්ද නෙගටිව්ද කියලා තීරණය වෙන්නේ. ඉතින් අපි ඒක හොඳටම දන්නවා. බැංක්‍රප්සි තමයි තියුණු එකම අවුට්කම් එක. හැබැයි එතකොට හිතා ගන්න පුළුවන් මේ සිස්ටම් එකේ මේ ගවර්න්මන්ට් ආකිටෙක්චර් එකේ මොකක් හරි ලොකු වරදක් තියෙන නිසා තමයි අපි මේ තත්ත්වයට ඇති වුණේ කියලා. එතකොට මේ සිස්ටම් චේන්ජ් එක තමයි ඇත්තටම අරගලයේ තියුණු පළවෙනි රික්වයර්මන්ට් එක ගවර්න්මන්ට් චේන්ජ් එකක් නෙවෙයි. බට් ඒ වුණාට මේ එහෙම ප්‍රශ්නයක් chat එකේ තියුණු නිසා තමයි මම කියන්නේ. එහෙම ඒ chat එකේ කියන එකට වෙන දෙයක් තියෙනවා නම් කියන්න මේක පොඩ්ඩක් ඉවරනාට පස්සේ. එතකොට systems change approach aims to shift conditions. ඒ කියන්නේ system change එකකින් මොකද්ද බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ? shift conditions that are holding a problem in place. එතකොට තියෙන conditions මොන හරි තියෙනවා නම් ඒ conditions නිසා තමයි problem එක තියාගෙන ඉන්නේ එතන. එතකොට shift the conditions that are holding a problem in place තමයි අපි system change එකෙන් බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ. එතකොට one way of understanding these conditions is through the 6 conditions of system change model. එතකොට අපි මොකක් හරි established model එකක් මේකට ඇතුල් කරලා බැලුවොත් අපිට හිතා ගන්න පුළුවන් කොහොමද මේ system change එක කරන්නේ? මොකද මේ 6 දෙයක් 6 conditions fulfill වෙන්න ඕනේ system change එකක් කරන්න. ඒ model එක අපි පොඩ්ඩක් බැලුවොත් අපිට හිතා ගන්න පුළුවන් අපි කොතනින්ද මේක පටන් ගන්න. Now 6 conditions of system change කිව්වහම 6ක් තියෙනවා. එකක් තමයි structural changes, ඊට පස්සේ relational changes, ඊට පස්සේ transformative change. එතකොට structural changes පේන්න තියෙන දේවල්, relational changes semi explicit. එච්චර පේන්න නැති වෙන්න පුළුවන්. Transformative change implicit. එතකොට අපේ problem එකක් බැලුවොත් structural changes බැලුවොත් අපි conditions බැලුවොත් policies. දැන් policies එක අපේ ලංකාවේ තියෙන ලොකු ප්‍රශ්නයක්. practices, policies, practices and the resource flows. මේ තුන වැඩ කරන විදිය මේ depend වෙන්නේ අපේ government එකේ හැටියට. ඒ කියන්නේ ඒක තමයි තියෙන ලොකුම ප්‍රශ්නේ මේ policies, government policies ඒ තියෙන විදිහටම තියනකම් අපි වෙනසක් වෙන්නේ නැහැ. එතකොට ඒ පොලිසිස් වලට හැටියට තමයි ප්‍රැක්ටිසස් ඇති වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. ඉතින් එතකොට ඔෆිසර්ස් අර මේවා පබ්ලික් සර්විසස් ඔක්කොම වැඩ කරන්නේ ඒ විදිහට. රිසෝසස් එන විදියයි නැති වෙන විදියයි ඒකත් තියෙන ඒක විදිහට. ස්ට්‍රක්චරල් චේන්ජ් එකක් අවශ්‍යයි. එතකොට ඒක වනස් වුණොත් තමයි අපිට රිලේෂනල් චේන්ජ් එකක් පේන්නේ. ඒ කියන්නේ රිලේෂන්ෂිප්ස් ඇන්ඩ් කනෙක්ෂන්ස් ඇන්ඩ් පවර් ඩයිනමික්ස්. කවුද පවර් එක කොහොමද මේක කරන්නේ? කවුද ලීඩර්ෂිප් එක තියෙන්නේ? ඒවා වෙනස් වෙන්නේ මේ පොලිසිස් වෙනස් වුණොත් තමයි. දැන් ෆොර් එක්සැම්පල් එකක් ගත්තොතින් දැන් මොකක් හරි පබ්ලික් සර්විස් එක හෙල්ත් සර්විස් එක කියමුකෝ. ඒකේ ඉන්න සෙක්‍රටරි ඒකෙම සීනියර් වෙලා ඒකම මැනේජ්මන්ට් ඉගෙන ගත්ත අය තමයි හෙල්ත් සෙක්‍රටරි හරි වෙන්නේ. එහෙම නැත්නම් කොහොම හරි දැන් වෙලා තියෙන්නේ සෙක්‍රටරිස්ලා එන්නේ පැරෂූට් කරලා දානවා. කිසිම එක්ස්පීරියන්ස් එකක් නැහැ මේ සබ්ජෙක්ට් එක ගැනවත්. ඉතින් ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ මේ පවර් ඩයිනමික් බැලුවම හිතා ගන්න පුළුවන් මොකද මේ සිස්ටම්ස් එකක්වත් හරියට වැඩ කරන්නේ නැත්තේ කියලා. මොකද ඒකේ උඩම ඉන්න මිනිස්සයාට ඒක මොනක්වත් තේරෙන්නේ නැහැ. ඉතින් අන්න ඒ වගේ මේ පවර් ඩයිනමික්ස් මාරු වෙනවා නම් තමයි අපිට පොඩි මේකෙන් මේ ගොඩ එන්න පුළුවන් තත්ත්වයක් වෙන්නේ. එහෙම වුණාම දැන් මේ පවර් ඩයිනමික්ස් මාරු වුණාම රිලේෂන්ෂිප්ස් කනෙක්ෂන්ස් මාරු වුණාම තමයි ට්‍රාන්ස්ෆෝමේෂන් එක. එතකොට අපේ මෙන්ටල් සිටුේෂන් එක වෙනස් වෙනවා. දැන් ෆොර් එක්සැම්පල් අපි බැලුවොත් දැන් අපි ඉගෙන ගන්න කියලා මෙඩිකල් ස්කූල් එකට ආපු කාලේ 1970 ගණන් වල අපි දැන් හිතියේ නෑ ඩීන්ස් ඔෆිස් එක කොහේ තියුණාද වයිස් චාන්සලර්ලා මොනවද කරන්නේ ඕවා මොකක්වත් කරේ නෑ ක්ලාස් එකට ගියා ඉගෙන ගත්ත එක නේ අපි කරේ ඒ වුණාට දැන් ඉන්න ළමයි පළවෙනි අවුරුද්දේ ආපු දවසේ දෙවෙනි දවසේම කොඩි එල්ලගෙන දුවනවා වයිස් චාන්සලර්ගේ ඔෆිස් එකට එක්ක ස්ට්‍රයික් කරනවා එක්ක මොන හරි එකක් නෑ කියලා කෑ ගහනවා ඒකනේ කරන්නේ ඉතින් එතකොට සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම වෙනස් වෙලා තියෙන සිටුේෂන් එක. ඉතින් ඒ මෙන්ටල් මොඩල් එක මාරු වෙන්න නම් මේ උඩ තියෙන ඒවාත් ඔක්කොම මාරු වෙන්න ඕනේ. ඉතින් එක දෙයක් තමයි වැඩි තියෙන මේ 6 conditions need to be addressed together to effectively make a system change. එතකොට මේ mental model මාරු වෙන්න නම් අපි education පැත්තෙන් යන්නත් ඕනේ. එතකොට මේ ඔක්කොම මාරු වෙන්න නම් මේ ඔක්කොම හයම එක සැරේ address කරන්න ඕනේ. එතකොට the pattern of interactions between these parts ultimately forms the new system. එතකොට අපි අලුත් system change එකක් බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා නම් ඒ system change එක ඇති කර ගන්න නම් අපි මේ හැම එකකටම මාරු කරන්න චේන්ජ් කරන්න මහන්සි ගත්තොත් තමයි අපිට කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඉතින් ස්ට්‍රක්චරල් චේන්ජස් වෙන්න පුළුවන්, රිලේෂන් චේන්ජස් වෙන්න පුළුවන්, ට්‍රාන්ස්ෆෝමටිව් චේන්ජස් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඉතින් ඒක නිසා තමයි අපි මේ අද කතා කරන්න යන්නේ මේ policies practices කොහොමද අපි චේන්ජ් කරන්න පුළුවන් ඉලෙක්ෂන් සිස්ටම් එකේ වෙනසක් කරොත් කියන එක තමයි අපි බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ. එතකොට මම තවත් කියන්න ඕන අපි මේ අවුරුද්දේ පොඩි වෙනසක් කරා සන්ඩේ ඒ කියන්නේ every Sunday හැම මාසෙම පළවෙනි සන්ඩේ ලීඩ්ස් මීටින් එක අපි පොලිටිකල් ප්ලට්ෆෝර්ම් එකක් හැටියට ඕනම පොලිටිකල් ලීඩර් කෙනෙකුට කතා කරන්න ඉඩ දෙන්න බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා. ඉතින් ඒක නිසා ඕගොල්ලන් දන්න හරි පොලිටිෂියන් කෙනෙක් හරි පොලිටිකල් කැන්ඩිඩේට් හරි කාට හරි කතා කරන්න ඕන නම් ඒ අවස්ථාව දෙන්න. එතකොට මේ දවස් වල ඕන දවසක ඒගොල්ලන්ට ඇවිල්ලා කතා කරන්න පුළුවන්. එතකොට ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ ප්‍රශ්න අහන්නත් අවශ්‍යතාවයක් තියෙනවා නම් ඕන කෙනෙකුට කරන්න පුළුවන් තත්ත්වයක් නැත ඇති වෙන නිසා එහෙම කරමු. ඉතින් ඒක නිසා. එතකොට ඊට පස්සේ මේ ඊළඟ සුමානේ අද වගේම ඉතාම වැදගත්. ඊළඟ සුමානේ සන්ඩේ මීටින් එකට අපි බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා අයිඩියල් ප්‍රෙසිඩෙන්ෂල් කැන්ඩිඩේට් එකට අයිඩියල් මැනිෆෙස්ටෝ එකක් හදලා ඩ්‍රාෆ්ට් එකක් ඉදිරිපත් කරන්න. ඒක පොඩ්ඩක් ෆයිනලයිස් කරගන්න ඕනේ. එතකොට ඒක ෆයිනලයිස් කරාට පස්සේ අපි ඒක පබ්ලික් ඩොකියුමන්ට් එකක් හැටියට පාවිච්චි කරන්න පුළුවන්. අද කතා කරන්න යන්නේ අපි ඉලෙක්ෂන් සිස්ටම් චේන්ජ් එක ගැන කොහොමද අපි ඉලෙක්ෂන් කමිෂන් එකෙන් කරගන්න බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ. ඒක ගැන කතා කරලා මේ පුළුවන් අපිට මෙතනින් ඉස්සරහට යන්න. ඉතින් මම මෙතනින් නවත්තලා මම වර්ඩ් ඩොකියුමන්ට් එකක් තියෙනවා ඒකේ මම කියන්න ඕනේ මේ දැන් මම ඩ්‍රාෆ්ට් ලෙටර් එකක් හැදුවා අපි ඊට ඉස්සෙල්ලා කතා කරපු දේවල් ගැන ඉංග්‍රීසියෙන් තමයි ලිව්වේ. ලෙටර් එක බර්නාඩ් කිව්වා ඒක අපිට සිංහලෙන් තෝරනම් පරිවර්තනය කරන්න පුළුවන් කියලා. එතකොට අපි මේක කරාම මං දැන් ඒ ලියපු ලෙටර් එක ගොඩක් ඩීටේල්ස් ඒ කියන්නේ මේ ගොඩක් හේතු දක්වන්න තමයි හිතුවේ. ඒ කියන්නේ මොන හරි අයිටම් එකක් ගත්තොත් ඒකට එවිඩන්ස් එකක් ඒක සපෝට් කරන්න විදියක් පෙන්වන්න ඕන. ඒකට පොඩි අයිඩියා එකක් දෙන්න ඕන ලෙටර් එකේ. මොකද මීටින් එකක් දුන්නොත් අපිට ඉලෙක්ෂන් කමිෂන් එකෙන් ඒක වැඩියෙන් එක්ස්ප්ලেইন කරන්න පුළුවන් එක්සැම්පල්ස් පෙන්නනවා. ඉතින් ටයිටල්ස් වලින් මේක කතා කරන්න හොඳයි. එහෙම කරත් මම මේක යව්වවට සමන් තෙන්නකෝනේ සමන් තෙන්නකෝන්ට AI ඇක්සෙස් එකක් තියෙන නිසා සමන් ඒක බලලි වෙලා මට AI වලින් ජෙනරේට් කරා ඒ මම යපු ලෙටර් එකම ඩ්‍රාෆ්ට් එක අලුත් විදියකට. ඒකත් මම පොඩ්ඩක් පෙන්නන්න මොකද ඒකේ ටයිටල්ස් ටික තියෙන නිසා පස්සෙම අන්තිමට අපි ෆයිනලයිස් කරන එකට ලෙටර් එක වෙනම එකක් පෙන්වන්න පුළුවන්. Okay. So මම කියවලා බලන්නම්. සබ්ජෙක්ට් එකේ තියෙන request for an appointment to discuss vital electoral system reforms. ඒක තමයි අපි election commissioner ට යවන්නේ. Okay. So මේක තමයි මට මේ AI පාවිච්චි කරලා මේ හදලා තිබුණු ලෙටර් එක. ඒ ලෙටර් එකේ තියෙනවා මේ ස්ටේට්මන්ට් එක ඒගොල්ලෝ හදලා දාලා තිනවා. Our concerns center around the systematic flaws in our electoral procedures, which we believe have significantly contributed to the challenges faced by our country over the years. We are eager to present well-researched proposals to the National Election Commission and engage in a constructive dialogue to facilitate the implementation. So ඉතින් එතකොට ඒකේ මට මේ මම ඒ ලෙටර් එකේ දාපු ටයිටල්ස් ටික සබ්ටයිටල්ස් හැටියට ලස්සනට ලියලා තිබුණා. එකක් තමයි adherence to electoral rules. Mandate that political parties nominate candidates who are residents of the relevant districts. Establish district electorate merit order to prevent the perpetuation of political dynasties. දැන් political dynasties කිව්වහම අපි මීට ඉස්සර අපි දැකලා තියෙනවා family dynasties උත් but ඒ වුණාට ඒ dynasties කිව්වහම family නෙවෙයි සමහරට corruption prone කට්ටිය විතරක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. සමහර වෙලාවට පොරු ටිකක් වෙන්නත් පුළුවන්. සමහර වෙලාවට පරණ lot එකක් වෙන්නත් පුළුවන්. ඉතින් මේ dynasties එක එක විදිහට හදනවා party leaders ඕන විදිහට. ඉතින් ඒක කරන්න දැනට හොඳට පුළුවන්කම තියෙනවා. කරගෙන යන්න මේ මිනිස්සුන්ට ඕන රෙප්‍රසෙන්ටේටිව් නෙමෙයි අතටම පොලිටිකල් කැන්ඩිඩේට්ස්ලා හැටියට එන්නේ පාර්ටි ලීඩර්ට ඕන කැන්ඩිඩේට්. ඉතින් එතකොට හිතා ගන්න පුළුවන් පාර්ටි ලීඩර් නොමිනේට් කරන්නෙත් එයාට හරියන වගේ කට්ටියනේ. ඒත් එක්ක හැමතිස්සෙම ආගියු කරන කට්ටිය පාර්ටි ලීඩර් නොමිනේට් කරන එකක් නැති වෙන්නේ. අන්න ඒ වගේ තත්ත්වයක්. එතකොට මැනිෆෙස්ටෝ accountability එක ගැන අපි කතා කරා. බර්නාඩ් තමයි ගොඩක් කිව්වේ මැනිෆෙස්ටෝස් එක කෙනා ලියනවා ලිව්වට ඉලෙක්ෂන් එක පහ වුණාට පස්සේ ඒගොල්ලෝ ඒවා එකක්වත් මේව කරන්නේ නැහැ කියලා. ඉතින් මේකට අපි suggest කරේ encourage political parties to publish manifestos with clear accountability framework and a timeline action plan to empower voters with transparent information. ඒ කියන්නේ මේක manifesto accountability manifesto monitoring එක election commission එකම කරන්න පුළුවන් නම් ලොකු දෙයක්. ඉතින් කරයිද නැද්ද කියන එක දන්නේ නැහැ. හැබැයි ඒ වුණාට ඒවා election commission එකේ මේවා වුණේ නැහැ කියලා හරි පබ්ලිෂ් කරන්න පුළුවන්කම තියෙනවා නම් ඒක ඉතින් ලොකු accountability එක වැඩි කරන්න හේතුවක් වෙයි කියලා හිතනවා. එතකොට declaration of assets and liabilities මේක මේ ඉන්දියාවේ තියෙන ක්‍රමයම තමයි අපි මේ කරන්න කියලා මට ලියලවල තුනේ ජනක. Introduce an affidavit to the declaration of assets and liabilities for each candidate following the successful model of the Election Commission of India. ඉන්දියාවේ වගේ අපිටත් affidavit එකක් ඉල්ලන්න පුළුවන් declaration of assets and liabilities. එතකොට bonus seat allocation ගැන අපි කිව්වා conduct thorough review of the allocation of bonus seats to ensure equitable distribution and prevent disproportionate advantage to the winning party at the expense of weakening the opposition. දැන් මේ bonus seats එක ගැන අපි ඉස්සෙල්ලා කතා කරේ හේතුව මේ bonus seats දුන්නාම කරන්නේ දැන් winning party එකට වැඩිපුර seats ප්‍රමාණයක් ලැබෙනවා. දැන් එහෙම calculate කරාම අපි දැන් ගිය 2020 election එකේ ඒවා අපි calculate කරාම එතකොට seats ගානක් shift වෙනවා 10%ක් විතර. 10%ක් විතර seats ලැබෙනවා winning party එකට. එතකොට 10%ක් winning party එකට ලැබෙන්නේ ඒකෙන් අඩු වෙන්නේ opposition එකෙන් 10%ක් අඩු වෙනවා. එතකොට winning party එකයි opposition එකයි අතර gap එක 20%ක් විතර වෙනවා. ඒගොල්ලන්ට ඒක ඒ power එක ලැබිලා තියුණත් එහෙම වුණාම වෙන්නේ එතකොට winning party එක තමයි ඕන එකක් කියන එකක් කරගෙන යනවා. opposition එක නිකන් ඉන්නවා. ඇත්තටම opposition එකට මොනවත් වැඩි කරන්න විදියක් නැහැ. මොකද gap එක හොඳටම වැඩි. කිසිම දෙයකට අනිත් පැත්තට මේකක් පාර්ලිමේන්තු එක කරගන්න බෑ. ඉතින් මේ බෝනස් සීට් එකෙන් කරලා තියෙන්නේ ඩෙමොක්‍රසි එක නැති කරනවා මේක මිසක් මේ ඩෙමොක්‍රසි එක මේ power එක වැඩි කරන්න ක්‍රමයක් නෙමෙයි. ඉතින් ඒ වගේම තමයි ඒකේ තියෙන්නේ. එතකොට එතකොට මේ වෝටර් ඩිලීෂන් පොලිසි දැන් මේක ගැන අපි කියන්න ඕනේ. ඒ කියන්නේ දැන් ඩිස්ට්‍රික් එකකට කැන්ඩිඩේට්ස්ලා දැම්මහම 5කට අඩුවෙන් 5කට අඩුවෙන් ඡන්ද ප්‍රමාණයක් ලැබෙන කැන්ඩිඩේට්ස්ලාගේ ඒ වෝට්ස් ටික සම්පූර්ණයෙන් ඩිලීට් වෙනවා. ඒක කවුන්ට් වෙන්නේ නැහැ. එතකොට වෙන්නේ මෙහෙම එකක්. දැන් හිතමු මෙහෙම බලමුකෝ. දැන් ඔන්න මොකක් හරි දැන් ගොඩක් අපි ලංකාවේ ඩිවයිසිව් පොලිටික්ස් නේ ගොඩක් කරගෙන යන්නේ. පුළුවන් තරම් ඩිවිෂන්. එතකොට දැන් ඒ වගේ සීට් එකක බලමු මුස්ලිම් කට්ටිය 140ක් ඉන්නවා. සිංහල කට්ටිය 130ක් ඉන්නවා. තමිල් කට්ටිය 130ක් ඉන්නවා. එතකොට කැන්ඩිඩේට්ස්ලා තුන්දෙනෙක් දාලා තිබුණා තින් ගොඩක් වෙලාවට රේෂියලි ඩිවයිසිව් නම් ඒ සිටුේෂන් එක. එතකොට දැන් 140කට ඡන්දයකින් එතකොට මුස්ලිම් කැන්ඩිඩේට් දිනන්න පුළුවන්. මොකද 140ක් එතන සෙනග ඉන්න නිසා. එතකොට දැන් මේ වෝට ඩිලීෂන් පොලිසි එක වුණාම කරන්නේ දැන් අනිත් පාටි වලින් කොහොම හරි හොයලා ඉවරලා දානවා ඩීකෝයි කැන්ඩිඩේට්ස්ලා 5ක් විතර දානවා. දැන් ඩීකෝයි කැන්ඩිඩේට්ස්ලා දානවා මුස්ලිම් කැන්ඩිඩේට්ස්ලාම දාම කියමුකෝ. දැන් මුස්ලිම් එක්කෙනෙක් තමයි දිනන්න යන්නේ. මුස්ලිම් එක්කෙනෙක් දානවා කැන්ඩිඩේට්ස්ලා ඩීකෝයි කැන්ඩිඩේට්ස්ලා 5ක් විතර අනිත් කට්ටිය. දැම්මම වෙන්නේ දැන් අර රේෂියලි ඩිවයිසිව් පොලිටිකල් සිස්ටම් එකක් තියෙන නිසා මිනිස්සු දැන් බලනවා කොයි මුස්ලිම් කෙනාට ඡන්ද දෙන්න කියලා. එහෙම කරාම දැන් අර 140ක් ලැබෙන්න තියුණු මිනිස්සයාට ඒක ලැබෙන්නේ නැතුව අනිත් 5 දෙනාට යනවා 102 3 1 වගේ ගාණක් ගියා කියමුකෝ. එහෙම ගියාම දැන් ඒ කට්ටියගේ වෝට්ස් ටික ඔක්කොම ඩිලීට් කරාට පස්සේ අර දැන් 140ක් ලැබෙන්න තියුණු එක්කෙනාට 130ට වැඩිය අඩු වෙනවා. එතකොට වෙන්නේ අර ඩීකෝයි කැන්ඩිඩේට්ස් දාපු මිනිස්සයා දිනනවා. ඉතින් අන්න ඒක තමයි වෝටර් ඩිලීෂන් පොලිසි එකේ තියෙන ප්‍රොබ්ලම් එක රීජනල්. එතකොට වෝටර් බේස්ඩ් සීට් ඇලොකේෂන් මේකත් අපි ගිය සැරේ අපි බර්නාඩුත් පෙන්නුවා. දැන් වෝටර්ස්ලා රෙජිස්ටර්ඩ් ගාණක් ඉන්නවා. හැබැයි වෝට්ස් දාන කට්ටිය ඒ ගානම එන්නේ නැහැ. 80ක් විතර තමයි ඡන්දේ දාන්නේ. සාමාන්‍යයෙන් 75ක් විතර. හැබැයි ඒ වුණාට සමහර තැන්වල ඉන්ටිමිඩේෂන් නිසා. ඒ කියන්නේ වෙන හේතු නිසා ඉන්ටිමිඩේට් කරන්න පුළුවන්, ඉන්සෙන්ටිව්ස් දීලා ඉන්ටිමිඩේට් කරන්න පුළුවන්, වයලන්ස් කරලා ඉන්ටිමිඩේට් කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඉන්ටිමිඩේෂන් නිසා රෙජිස්ටර්ඩ් වෝටර්ස්ලාට ඡන්දේ නොදා ඉන්න තත්ත්වයක් ඇති කරන්න පුළුවන්. හැබැයි වෙලා තියෙනවා ලංකාවේ. එහෙම කරාම වෙන්නේ එතකොට දැන් 90ක් දැන් එක පාටි එකකට 10%ක් විතර ඡන්ද තියෙන. එතකොට 90ක් ඉන්නේ අනිත් පැත්තේ. එතකොට ඒ 90 ඉන්ටිමිඩේට් කරන සල්ලි දීලා හරි මොකක් හරි කරලා කොහොම හරි ඡන්දෙට නොදා යන්න. එතකොට අර 10%ක් ඉන්න කට්ටියට ලැබෙනවා බොහොම සුළු ඡන්ද ප්‍රමාණයක්. ඒ සුළු ඡන්ද ප්‍රමාණයෙන් එතකොට අර රෙජිස්ටර්ඩ් වෝටර්ස්ලා ගානට ලැබෙන්න තියෙනවා නම් MPස්ලා 10ක් MPස්ලා 10ක් ලැබෙනවා අර සුළු ඡන්ද ප්‍රමාණය. එතකොට ඒක තමයි මේ වෝටර් බේස්ඩ් මේ වෝට් කරපු ගානේ හැටියට සීට් ඇලොකේට් කරන්න කියන්නේ රෙජිස්ටර්ඩ් ගානට නෙමෙයි. එතකොට අර ඩීකෝයි කැන්ඩිඩේට්ස් දාලා ඒ හොරකම් කරන ක්‍රමේ නැති කරන්න පුළුවන් නිසා. එතකොට ඉලෙක්ෂන් මැනිෆෙස්ටෝ මොනිටරින් එක ඉලෙක්ෂන් කමිෂන් එකෙන්ම කරන්න පුළුවන් නම් හොඳයි කියන එක තමයි අපි කිව්වේ. ඉතින් මේක ගැන අපි පොඩ්ඩක් කතා කරන්න තමයි බැලුවේ. මේ අර AI ජෙනරේටර් ලෙටර් එක මම ඒක දැන් පොඩ්ඩක් නවත්තලා අනිත් ලෙටර් එක පෙන්නන්නම්. මේකේ මේ Bernard, you know that Bernard, Bernard, I have used your telephone number as I said suggested.
No problem.
As the contact number at the bottom, on the top, yeah, because then they can contact you and directly contact. Address එක එහෙමයි. එතකොට we seek an appointment to explain critical system changes required in our current electoral system to make it fair and fully democratic. ඒක තමයි ටයිටල් එකට දැම්මේ. එතකොට අර වගේ අපි බෑග්ග්‍රවුන්ඩ් එක පොඩ්ඩක් එක්ස්ප්ලেইন කරලා තියෙනවා. එතකොට මේකේ මේ මං හිතුවේ මේකේ proposal, our proposal below is based on two primary subtitles, namely adherence to the existing electoral rules of the book and ensuring equality of the vote. ඒක තමයි අපි ගොඩක්ම මේ ස්ට්‍රෙස් කරන්නේ මේ මීටින් එකේ. එතකොට ඒ ඩිස්කස් කරන proposals ටික මේ වගේ දැන් all our requests are in line with achieving the objective of the commission to conduct free and fair elections and referenda as per article number 103 constitution. දැන් මේ වගේ මේ supporting evidence එකක් හැම එකටම පෙන්වන්න පුළුවන් නම් ගොඩක් හොඳයි. මම නම් ඇත්තටම දන්නේ නැහැ. ඒ වුණාට මම මේ items 7ක් තියෙනවා මේකේ 7 පොඩ්ඩක් 7 වෙනම ඩිස්කස් කරා නම් මට අඩුපාඩු මොන හරි කරනවා නම් ඒක හදාගන්න පුළුවන්. ඒකයි මම කල්පනා කරේ ඒක කරා නම් හොඳයි කියලා. අපි එක item එකක් ගත්තොත් අර ගිසරේ වගේ මේ මේවා කරන්න පුළුවන් මම ඒකේ මේ ට්‍රක් චේන්ජස් දාගත්තා නම් හොඳයි. මේකේ මේ පළවෙනි අයිටම් එක මම පොඩ්ඩක් ප්‍රශ්න කරනවා. පළවෙනි අයිටම් එක National Election Commission should compel the political parties to nominate candidates who are residents of the relevant districts and select them through a district electorate merit order to ensure non-propagation of various dynasties by parachuting candidates by the shrewd party leaders as has happened in the past. In other words, candidate selection by political parties should be meritocratic at the regional level. Finding true allegiance with the people's popularity and voter protection is impossible without this. This is because most popular candidates regularly may get dislodged because the party leaders disagree on their nominations. This also affects the equality of vote. In other words, having no voter value within the party when nominating candidates is a significant opening that promotes dynasties of corruption at the grassroots level. දැන් ඒක තමයි ඒ එක්ස්ප්ලනේෂන් එකත් එක්ක ලිව්වහම තමයි මම හිතන්නේ ඒක ටිකක් අර මේ අලුතෙන්ම කියවනකොට තේරෙන්නේ අනිත් එක දැන් මේ ආගියුමන්ට් එක ටිකක් මැතමැටිකල් ආගියුමන්ට් එකක් ඒක ඩිස්ක්‍රෙඩිට් කරන්නත් අමාරුයි. ඒක ගැන පොඩ්ඩක් අපි කතා කරමුද මේ පළවෙනි අයිටම් එකේ.
First, we have to make sure that if you take item number 1, whether this based on the contents, whether the election commission is has the authority to implement this.
ඔව් ඒක මට ලියලවල තිබුණා ඇත්තටම මට මේ ජනකයවල තිබුණා ඔක්කොම මේ articles ඒ කියන්නේ තියෙන acts, there are lots of acts about the election commission එකෙන් කරන්න පුළුවන් දේවල් නැති දේවල් ගැන ලියපු එක. But ඒ වුණාට what I thought was it's better to explain all our concerns so the election commission can say they can't do it, but at least it will raise the awareness of them and also people. මොකද there'll be a little publicity once this kind of thing goes into the election commission. ඒකයි මං හිතුවේ ඒකින්ද ඒගොල්ලන්ට කරන්න බැරිද කියන එක let them decide that whether it's not our thing. No, we will raise the concerns as normal citizens.
Okay.
Yeah. Ranjan, what do you say, Ranjan? Yes.
Yes, thank you. This objective is achieved in America through the primary voting system. That is happening now in America right now.
Yeah.
So that is the mechanism that America has adopted to achieve this very, I think, well-deserved objective, which has a lot of merit. I agree with that.
So that is for a presidential election, a primary voting system. The අපි මෙතන කතා කරන්නේ for this regional representation නැතුවනේ දැන් candidates ලා දාන්නේ. Now when you have nominations, candidates ලා list එක I think the party leader has to sign it. That is how you get the nominations.
Tula, let me finish with you.
Yeah.
Can I finish?
Yes, please. Yeah.
You see, that is how America has achieved it. Now, what is the way that our National Election Commission can ensure that the people themselves select the candidate for that particular electorate? You see, now the evil of the present practice is that the party leader selects his own loyalist. Now we are trying to overcome that evil, a disadvantage. What is the mechanism that we can think of to overcome that evil? The example I gave of is how America has tried to obviate that disadvantage. Yeah.
Yeah. Any comments on that? How to achieve it? I mean, obviously, Bernard, yes, you have any idea?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes. Now, in regard to this question, I think I have already proposed a system where you can you confine the identification or selection of candidates on a district basis, where the party leader will not have a say. It's the district leaders who are going to interview. There's an interview system. That's what I have already told. I don't want to repeat also. what I'm saying is basically you have to call for applications like in the any formal sector, institutional sector, we call for applications for candidates. So say, for that purpose, we need eligibility criteria. So as things like the declaration of assets and liability is also part of them. But PAFRL, I think they took from the constitution itself the negatives and the negative criteria, and they gave a list of people under that all party declaration, March 15th, all party declaration, where all parties signed the declaration. There are about 8 in my earlier presentation. I have showed all that. So and that fulfills the eligibility criteria. So after the district authorities get the applications, and they will sort out and see whether who are the people who are eligible to apply with the conforming to minimum eligibility criteria. Then they go for the interview system. Like this is just equal to the formal sector recruitment. So with the interview system, you give marks. So based on the marks, you decide on the merit order, person who is getting the highest at the top and like coming down. And with that only, they can have the merit list of candidates. So it's a very open system, and where nobody can interfere. But only thing is subject to, I mean, so long as the people are honest, nothing, no system is required. But because of dishonesty and all that, there are certain loopholes but we can come closer to perfection by adopting the system which is already done. So under
So,
that, this.
Bernard, can I interfere?
Yeah. Sure.
So if Apparel they have done this, do
Yeah.
you think we should invite them to participate in the same meeting?
Sure. Yeah, no, we should be very open and let everybody understand. As well, the only thing is they didn't have the legal teeth to implement it. I mean, it didn't have NEC blessing. Only parties agreed. So that is the very reason that NEC must now dictate terms and make these things mandatory. So no, they can always reject those applications. Then about the people knowing about it, I have also already mentioned that the district party level people, party leaders should send their list of, after the interview, they must prepare a merit list of candidates that they have interviewed and the best people qualified, and they send it to the district level. There is a commissioner, assistant commissioner or a deputy commissioner. There are deputy commissioners in some areas, big areas. So they will scrutinize those, and what you call, they will scrutinize them and send it to the election commission, head office. All these 22 districts will do that. Then they will publish in the newspaper, Sinhala, Tamil, English newspapers, a preliminary list, giving all the names with the district's merit list. Then the people are free to contest them. They can lodge their protest. This person is not should not be selected here. This. විරෝධතා ඔක්කොම පෙන්වන්න පුළුවන්. Even the political parties can do that. Anybody in Sri Lanka can do that, and they give a time frame before which the I mean, protest. There must be a limited time given. Under that, then once those things are given, those protests are registered with the NEC. They will go to NEC. So NEC will forward them back to the district authorities to recorrect, finalize the system through the electoral assistant commissioners. They are there in every district. So they will go through them and ensure that but the objections are taken into account, and the final list is prepared. Once the final list is prepared, that is that is going to be registered at the election nomination time. You see, then
So now what you say is that after nominations being accepted that this scrutiny should take place? Is that what you're saying?
Yes. People cleared. People have to clear the nom. That's what I said. Preliminary nomination list will have to be sent, published, and the people will register their objections. There are wherever there will definitely be objections because political parties are interested in the nominations. Corresponding opposing political parties are interested in nominations, so they can always lodge the protest, and they will take that into account and send it back to the district authorities, and they must finalize with the correct people. Only the people who are rejected by the people should be taken off, and the final list must be registered on the nomination.
Yeah. So the election commission can only do that
Yes.
if they are within their rules, isn't it? Within their rules, isn't it? Like eligibility rules, isn't it?
eligibility
Just
rules.
because somebody protested, they may not be able to
Yeah, yeah.
remove the name
No, but
unless it's within the rules.
yeah, the eligibility rules involve people who are involved in criminal activities. All those things are there.
So,
So
right.
they can confirm that is in the constitution itself. Those things, negative criteria, I said, they are that is parallel only put that and got the parties to sign, as I said earlier. But nothing happened. No, that is because they didn't have legal teeth. You must introduce this fiat as a fiat, and after you try this for 1 year, next election is not necessary. They will what we will find is own level, and they will start nominating only the professionals. We need country first political professionals. I have been telling. So that kind of thing, we must go forward with that, and ultimately we will, like in Singapore, Malaysia, and all that. Only the professionals come into the parliament. We failed because of non-professionals were there in the parliament for 75 years. No, there were
Bernard,
Bernard, there's a comment. There's a comment to say. Leonard, you want to speak as well? Yeah.
Yes.
yeah, I want to say something just to clarify.
Sure.
As I understand, so in an election, you have political parties and you have independent candidates.
Yes.
And normally what happens is from the political parties, candidates are selected by the party or party membership, and they come from there. The independent candidates, they come on their own. So according to what you are suggesting is there should be a criteria for both, even for the party members
Yes.
as well as
Right.
for independent candidates. There must be a way of selecting the
Yes.
best. In other words, we are not trusting the political parties who select the best candidate. Independent, of course, we can say that there's no party selection, and we have the criteria for, of course, for both.
Yes.
Am I correct?
Yes, you are right. Across the board, all these criteria are across the board. It applicable to parties as well as independent. It's not independent candidates cannot come in like individuals. They have to come in groups. Now, say independent group in Aurelia, independent group Jaffna, like that, they have to come in groups. And in such groups, there are some 353 parties and groups that were registered for the last election who came, and I mentioned earlier also. So I think that is not a thing to reckon so much, because now most of the larger parties are in the fray. So, responding to your question is, it is applicable across the board. It's a must, like in any recruitment procedure in any institution, in simple terms. And it is happening.
So we should have some points. We have already made some points that
Yes,
when you meet the election commission to stress the importance of filtering properly.
exactly.
Correct.
So to do that,
Yeah.
will they? We don't know. I mean, election commission may be able to do it, but it's something that we should request. In that case, we should invite Pafferel to join as well. They might have their point as well.
Yeah, sure. Anybody is, I think we must invite, and they also must unpack, because Pafferel, they know that they failed because it was mere on paper declaration. That's all. Nothing beyond that. So nobody ever, though they signed, the party leaders signed the declaration, but nobody abided by it.
Okay, so yeah, we'll go there. But as you say, there was a comment saying that this might delay the whole process quite a lot. So but it doesn't matter as long as you got time scales. That means you can ask for a preliminary preliminary list before actual finalizing date, isn't it? That's
yes. I mean, general election is scheduled for next year, August, 2025 August.
Yeah, but it's best to start now if you want.
Now is the time. We are late.
Jivananda, yes, Jivananda.
So going back to what Ranjan was alluding to, actually, in the US, the primary election system is not limited to presidential elections. It applies to any election for any position. Any number of candidates can, if more than one candidate applies, then they are supposed to have a primary election and select the candidate who is going to the final election from each party. So what Bernard, I mean, it works. Now, also, I need to point out that the system, primary election system, is not in the US Constitution. It was adopted by the parties,
I
the
see.
two parties.
Uh-huh.
So what Bernard is explaining is the same procedure, but giving the power for the people to select. We delegate that responsibility to the election
Party.
commission or the
Yes, that's
commissions.
right.
That's my understanding.
Yeah, you are
That's-
right.
Yeah, that's a good
Because
one because you can argue the case saying it's not in the constitution in other countries, and why can't the election commission do it, isn't it?
that's
If
right.
it's not a constitution requirement in other countries, why
Yeah.
can't the election commission do it?
Exactly.
Saying they
Yeah,
want
right.
it in the
So
Yeah,
yeah, so
right.
that's why. So the Bernard said that the all party meeting they have agreed to a system.
no,
So
yes,
then
they have signed a declaration about eligibility criteria.
Yes. Knowing the
When-
culture of our politicians, it didn't happen. No, that's why I am saying we must give legal teeth to this whole thing. Otherwise, it won't work.
No, that's okay. So the election commission has to take it up.
Election
If
commission,
pressurize it,
that's
then we should be able to do it.
exactly.
But
Election procedure.
But what is
Yeah.
important is for primary election selection process is applicable to both presidential election as well as general election.
I do not around regarding the presidential. I have something else to say about the presidential election. Since we are presently discussing the electoral system, I don't want to mix up with that. So we can
No,
discuss.
we can discuss that next week because we are
Next
talking
week,
about
yeah.
presidential.
Because
thing
that is
next week.
anyway. That is the first one. Regarding the present situation, the first election to come is the presidential election. So we should first sort out the presidential election matter because last time also I said I should not be repeating myself, but actually, if we are going to do a real president in the present context, we can't do big changes to the presidential election system. Maximum that we can ask is for them to nominate independent candidates. Then only our matter will be sorted out. Because so long as party candidates come in as presidential candidates, they will never touch these system changes, because that president who is coming is also a party person. So he will only go ahead with the party manifestos and all that. So
But the question is now when it's this kind of thing where the PAFRL is involved and also when we are going more public with it, is it's possible to at least request such a thing even if they say no,
yeah, right. Yes.
isn't it?
Yes.
So that
You
people
have the right
can
to do
think
that.
about it.
Yeah.
Yes, Ranjan has raised the hand. Ranjan, yes, Ranjan.
A simpler way to achieve this objective would be a simpler way is for the election commissioner to lay down procedures
Right.
that parties will be required to follow when selecting candidates for electorates. These procedures to ensure the danger that we are highlighting in this conversation, in this debate, and which we hope to avoid, which we want avoided. So the simpler way is that, and the faster way. Bernard's suggestion is impractical. It'll take a long time. No election will be held at that rate.
Excuse me, if I may respond to that, only thing is if you read I had given the entire methodology like a circular by the NEC, how to proceed with this thing, modus operandi for eligibility criteria, giving marks, allocating marks. I have even given suggested marks also for the interviews.
Okay,
Everything is given. Only thing is you have to read it and then see what are the gaps. I have given the full detailed methodology. It has appeared in the press also.
Yeah,
unfortunately,
that's good, Bernard, because we can what we can say is that this is important, and we can suggest various things. Your interview system, your primary election procedure, like what is happening in the US, or a strict eligibility criteria scrutiny through publication and etc. All that can be suggested to the election commission.
yeah, they are the people who will handle this.
So
Who should
yeah,
handle it.
okay, that's good. So we've got some options over there
Yeah.
to discuss. But then I think if we are going to election commission, it's probably better to have these procedures written down clearly, like small
All
documents.
that, yes.
You see,
Everything is
we will highlight what we want.
Yes,
And
yes.
then we will give a detailed kind of
Yeah.
thing, if
Yeah.
possible, at the
Right.
discussion, rather than
Right.
to put it
Exactly.
in here in the letter. Yeah.
True. Yeah, yeah. We should not put. In fact, I will later tell what my certain suggestions also
Yeah.
on this letter. Yes.
So the next should encourage political parties to publish their manifestos and adherence to that. Then you talked about all party declaration here, this one, yeah? All party declaration
Yeah.
signed
This
by
is
all
one.
party leaders in
Yeah.
2015. Do you have a copy of that? Because that can be submitted as evidence.
Yeah. This all party declaration criteria I have in my article. It is there.
No,
All the
but do
criteria.
you actually have the
No,
declaration?
I
copy of
don't
the
have the
declaration?
declaration per se. I don't have the declaration per se, but I got the criteria from the declaration. I asked from the PAFRL can give. You should be, if you ask PAFRL, they will give. PAFRL.
Do you think it's a good idea we talk to PAFRL?
Why not? We are very open, and unfortunately, PAFRL is not responding to our voter proposal. That is the problem.
No,
They
no,
say
that's
thank
okay.
you, that's all.
I'll send a letter that say we are
Yeah.
going to election commission. Can you join?
Yeah, right.
We can draft this letter and send it to them, or
Exactly.
send it to election commissioner and copy to them asking them to join.
Yes, no problem.
Yeah, then they will come through.
Anybody can come because we are this for a public thing, no.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. Okay. So that's fine. So about the manifestos. Then the third one is this addition of an affidavit. Now this can be, I think, should be implementable by the election commission itself.
Already this declaration is there.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
getting an affidavit like in India.
affidavit is a simple thing, no? I mean, so but all these things gets caught up in the interview system. The interview, on the eligibility criteria, this is given there. So when before the interview, this eligibility criteria. This is an undertaking actually. Anybody who is contesting should undertake to give a letter at least 1 month before the interview date, that is in a position to give this asset and liabilities declaration. So only such people will be found eligible for the interview.
Okay.
Otherwise, they won't be eligible. They must give the declaration as assets liabilities with or without affidavit. But nomination
I
time
think
only, yes. Nomination time, the party secretary must give affidavit to say that all these elections have been done in the proper way. That is the affidavit that the party secretary has to give to the returning officer. Yes.
I think
okay.
the assets, I think the asset declaration has to be not only the local assets, foreign assets,
Total, yes.
as well as company, the subsidiary company assets.
Yeah, all, everything. They have to declare. That's why I have suggested that election commission decides on the what you call the scope of this asset declaration. They should satisfy the election commission's requirement. So best thing is for they to give a specimen of a declaration, asset declaration that will suit the NEC, and that it be standardized and applicable to all the candidates. So not the way this party wants this way, that party wants that way. That won't do. Then you can't standardize and implement. So you must have a standardized mechanism in regard to applications, affidavits, everything. Even affidavits must be standardized and specimens must be given to parties. This is the way we want the affidavit, not the way you want to give. Like that, we have to have these fiats. Otherwise, it's very difficult. In the formal sector, it is there.
Yeah, but I think the declaration getting offshore liabilities and assets is not going to work probably because they are all hidden. They are not accountable anywhere.
Yeah.
That's
So I
why there are
think,
countries
yeah.
like Panama, even Uganda, who can have offshore accounts that is not declared anywhere. So that's what's happened, I think. I mean,
Yeah, but that
all these rumors or...
NEC must work out the practical method to get this asset declared, what they really want. So
Yeah, but that's been there for some time that people are putting everything in offshore places.
offshore, yeah. So if
And
NEC
nothing
takes
comes to Sri Lanka, and that's how all the commissioning works.
Yeah.
And that's a huge problem at the moment. Yeah.
So let NEC standardize that affidavit also, and let everybody will have to comply with that. Yeah.
So asset declaration, yes, we should emphasize that. Then the equality of vote. Now, in relation to this bonus seat thing, we calculated this before, but I think we should really calculate if you, Bernard can help me.
Yeah.
So
Well,
exactly
yeah,
how
I
much
can.
is shifting? I calculated this to be about 10% shift,
Yeah.
but I think it's better to give based on 2020 election results. This is
Exactly. That is the empirical evidence we are going to provide.
yeah, just
Yeah.
the
Based
exact
on that,
shift
one
that
can
is happening.
understand.
Now,
Yeah.
when you get a 10% shift, that means it's a 20% gap. That is
Yeah.
what we have to show. So
Right.
the opposition becomes nothing.
Yes. It
So
happens
that means the voter
both.
equality is not there because you vote for the opposition and
Yeah.
then that vote goes to basically to the winning party.
You are
That's
right there.
not equality of vote. That's
Because
exactly opposite, isn't it?
that's why with election commission we must emphasize on the UN declaration, human rights declaration, where it is specifically I have quoted from the section 21 in the declaration where they mention about equal suffrage, genuine and equal suffrage, universal equal suffrage, and through genuine elections. So this is where the fair elections are coming.
Okay, yeah, I think I
Fair.
can. So that's
Yeah.
good. We'll do that. I'm just making some notes so that I can update
Yeah,
you.
sure. Yeah.
Just
So
a clarification.
yeah.
So in Sri Lanka, when you have to vote, you vote for the person as well as for the party. Is
Yes.
it?
Yeah.
So let's say if he's an independent candidate, of course he has no party.
He has a
So-
party. He has to come in a party. They must register as a party or a group, independent group.
So if they register as an independent group, they are not
Yeah.
affiliated to any of the major parties. Am
No,
I
no,
correct?
no. Independent, no.
Yeah.
Independent.
So then, how does, let's say, independent candidate gets very low number of votes? So his vote, his, let's say, party vote,
Yeah.
how does it go to a major party? Does it go to a winning party or?
No. They are not reckoned after you select the 225 on the basis of largest remainder method. There's a way that is presently adopted by the NEC. Also, NEC, they give the percentage, so you go on giving the seats according to ratio. But this presently it is distorted. But in an ideal situation, when you apply clean PR, percentage arithmetic, you get the highest, you can easily bring them down up to 225 and you draw a line below that, all are getting discarded. All most of these independent parties are all discarded after you get about 25 people into the, I have worked out the example that is there. I can access it if you want, but there's no, if you want.
No, this is what I tried to explain earlier
Yeah.
on that divisive politicians always division. No, they use the division to get the votes. That's what they say. I'm a up country man. I'm a down country man. I'm an Indian Tamil and so on. And you do some kind of a division. Or say I'm a Buddhist or I'm a Christian or whatever. So that is how they claim the vote when they go to various areas. And this most of the independent candidates are actually not independent. They are deployed by some party to break the vote. That is what is happening. That's what I try to explain. Because of the divisional mentality that we have in the voters' side mostly, you exploit it to do that. That is what the independent candidates do. But but we can break it if you publish and do something like that. So we may be able to do that. Yes, Jivananda, you have a question. Yeah.
So this question to Bernard,
Yeah.
I compared what you are suggesting with the existing systems throughout the world.
Yeah.
So it appears that the New Zealand system is the best among parliamentary systems, and what you are suggesting comes very close to it. Okay.
Yes.
So
Maybe yes. Right.
So do you agree that what you are suggesting is
No,
close
I
to?
have not studied New Zealand or Netherlands for that matter. I have just gone by the responses that I received from the voters as well as my own responses and tried to find out the equality of vote that if it is to be maintained, I have given the solutions how to do it. So,
Okay, so
we have
probably
our own model. We don't have to copy and implant foreign models, in my view.
No. I agree fully that I mean we can do, but we can use the New Zealand system as a working model.
Yes.
So
Our
what
model
I
is already
suggest,
worked out now. This
so
model.
Chula, what I suggest is,
Yeah.
it's on their New Zealand government website.
Fine,
Uh,
fine. Yeah.
we can,
I
compare.
think to strengthen the argument, Bernard, that
Yeah.
that certain what we are proposing, you can say it's very similar to New Zealand or something will strengthen the
Okay.
argument to the neck. You see what
Yeah,
I mean?
right. Yeah. Only thing is, I have to
It's good
read the
that
news.
we get an
Yeah.
example
Yeah.
about this, and we can say quote New Zealand system or something.
Yeah.
Then that actually will help
Yeah.
our argument.
Yes. Even
Basically,
Netherlands,
yeah.
somebody said even Netherlands also very much similar. I think Dr. Janaka said to that effect.
Okay, so we'll check on that. Yeah.
Netherlands and New Zealand. So yeah, we can always support our model, but this is a model of our own timber.
Yeah. Just
So,
to tell
so
a little bit about Bernard. Bernard has written about political system since 1997. So he's
Yeah.
got more like a PhD experience on the subject. Not like
Okay.
that's why
That's
I'm
too much.
always asking from him because he studied it so well. Udita, sorry, I missed your hand earlier on. Udita, yes.
No, I don't understand the concept of what you're suggesting, saying that there's no equality of vote. I think all the votes are equal in the first stage, and there's no question about it. I know in the second stage, if a party or group has got less than 5% or whatever the percentage, they are discarded. But uh, why do they have the bonus seat system? It is to strengthen the governance of the winning party, because if I mean, even in UK, for example, if first the in the on the current system, if a party candidate gets one vote more than the next candidate, he is elected to the parliament. That means all the other people who voted for the other candidates, even if it's less than one, because it's less than one vote, he doesn't get anything. So
Yeah.
it is similar. I think
No. No,
the
Udita, it's a more complex subject than the way you
Yeah.
are saying.
Yeah. If
Because
we
democracy in relation to UK, now US is actually categorized as in the democratic index as a flawed democracy. UK is still a fully democracy, but the score is about 70. The best democracies are in Nordic countries,
Nordic,
like
yeah.
90 high scores. So,
Yeah.
so there is a way of talking about this democracy and equality of vote. I also had similar to you uh, hours and hours of thinking, understand what this Bernard is telling about this equality of vote. Now, when you I put, say, certain number of votes, and then based on the proportion of that, you get 10 seats, shall we say? Opposition get 5 seats or 6 seats, shall we say? Okay, so once we put bonus seats, then the winning party gets, based on the number of winning, they will get another, say, 3 seats. Okay, so they become 13, and the 6 becomes 3. So what we are saying is just exactly the statement. What you are saying is strengthening the government. On the other hand, it also says this is purposefully depleting the opposition, which is exact opposite that should happen if you
Yeah.
want a fully democratic country. So
No,
that's what is we are saying.
I think it is important to realize the current context of Sri Lankan politics. If there's a difference of one or two members in the parliament, in the current context, the parties can buy votes, isn't it? People can parties can buy votes, which means that automatically the governance becomes so difficult because people will buy votes from the other from the opposition to destabilize everything. So
No, yeah.
unless you have got a
But this has been dealt at
reasonable
the Supreme Court at the moment. you cannot cross parties, and then
Yeah.
you cross the party, you lose the seat. At
Right.
least something is happening in good direction.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
unless that clause is implemented fully,
Yeah.
they will buy votes from the other side
Yeah.
to
Yes.
No, the buying votes is curtailed to some extent now through the
to
Supreme Court
government.
ruling. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
so people
Yeah.
are working on that. Lots of people are
Yeah.
trying to
Yeah.
get it corrected.
Now, yeah, because
No, it is not a question of working. It should be implemented fully,
yeah,
unless you are going to have a chaotic situation.
yeah,
People easily
Yeah,
can
yeah. So
buy
we are going to election
pay,
system
pay
first. We are going to
50
election
million and
commission.
buy vote.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we are going to election commission so that they can decide. But we are trying to show with evidence what is wrong. That's what we are trying to show. We are not trying to implement anything.
yes,
The election
that's right.
commission has to implement it. But if we, just like a scientific paper, if you argue it well with the evidence, then the election commission has nothing but to implement it.
Exactly.
Say one good argument is about this primary
Because
voting that said it's not in the
yes,
US commission, constitution, which is very good.
I think the issue is on paper we have got enough laws to make sure that it is open and equal, but election commission is powerless to enact those laws like declaration of assets. So there's no point in being it on paper unless things are implemented. So implementation of the current laws, if they are implemented, those could be adequate. The issue is the laws are there on paper, but they are not implemented, like declaration of assets.
yes.
No,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
are asking for declaration of assets as well.
So if you're
What
going
is
to
to be implemented? But we are
if
going
you're going
beyond
to the
that to
election
correct the
commission, you
system.
must ask them to implement the current laws rather than looking at new laws.
We are not looking at laws. We are looking
Okay.
at sensible
Changes.
application of
Yes.
things. Say, for example, if your argument, when the Aragalaya came up, okay, you would have argued saying they are all democratically elected people, you should shut up and wait. People didn't, because there was a change is needed. Now, that is that system change that we are talking now at the moment.
Yeah.
See,
Yeah.
what can we do? That's what we are talking at the moment. Ranjan, you have raised your hand, Ranjan, yes.
Thank you. 2 points. Democracy is only a means to an end. It is not an end in itself. If it were an end in itself, a fishing village like Singapore won't become a first world today. That's point one. Point two. The concept of bonus seats started with the Jennings's Constitution of 1948. I studied this, we were taught this when we were in school. The reason, the justification, the rationale for the bonus seat was the interests that were not represented, that were successfully by the vote, at the general election, that hiatus is intended to be filled by the bonus seat. But unfortunately, it was corrupted. But anyway, the intention was good. That was to represent the interest that failed to be successfully represented through the electoral system, such as, for instance, the intellectuals, essentially the intellectuals. Then the certain minority groupings, the minorities. These are two good examples. Thank you.
Yeah, okay,
Yes.
we
Now, excuse me. I think Mr. Udita, I can send you some formats, calculations, simulations that have been done to see how the real proportional arithmetic is distorted by means of one is that five. I think Professor Chula has already mentioned this 5% cutoff. Then second one is bonus seats, and the third one is predetermined allocation of seats. All these things are instrumental in distorting the entire result system. That's that. So there's no equality of vote. That is a fundamental requirement,
No,
not
no.
only in our own constitution, but
That's,
also in the Declaration of
that
Human
is
Rights.
true. Distorting the result is
We have to
the
correct it.
problem we have.
Nobody is asking about that. Our now so-called experts and all that. They never point out this shortcoming. That's a fault in the faulty system.
No, no, yeah, that's true. And just I think it's Jivananda and Leonard was asking about this Manape. Manape, we are not considering in this thing.
Yes.
We have
Yeah.
not talking about it.
Only merit,
Only the merit. Yeah.
meritocracy.
Yeah. So this 5% vote deletion, we have already talked about how it helps the decoying candidates and also how it reduces the equality of vote. So shall I go to the sixth one? Allocation of seats based on the number of votes rather than the number registered is a good argument that we can also show examples from previous elections and also show how very small number of votes have elected so many number of MPs, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we can show that from the previous this thing.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of example we have to be prepared for the discussion, not probably in the letter.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and the last one was election manifesto monitoring by the election commission itself is something we can propose, but Pafferel is probably good in that case if we can get it.
Yeah.
So Pafferel, any other suggestions you have in relation to this?
Yes. Can I make a few observations?
Yeah. I'll write it down here.
Now, I know. First, I thought that now we are going to focus only on electoral system reforms. No, that electoral reforms include the parliamentary elections as well as presidential elections. That's also an election. So, presidential election is going to come first. You know, we can't. Nobody can postpone the presidency because the period expires by November 2024. So before that, they have to hold it. So this thing that we should do at this moment of time to get our system changes done is to ensure, I don't know to what extent NEC can do, ensure that applicants should be confined to independent candidates, not politicized candidates. If they are politicized candidates, they will never any president coming as a politicized candidate that will, I mean, even the three pillar independence of the three pillars of governance also will be already breached. Now it will further be breached because there are, I mean, they are hand in glove. No, president and the parliament are hand in glove. So we have to ensure good governance. Independent candidates, if they can propose, if they can implement.
Can I come in there? I mean, I don't think in a democracy you can prevent parties putting forward candidates. You in a democracy you can't say that you can have only independent candidates. I don't think that is right.
Yeah. No. Now, there are systems. No. Now, even the three pillars is also another system. That's an independent system where judiciary, parliament, and presidency. So they don't act hand in glove, but they act as independent. But they maintain a what you call divisive, some like a critical connection relationship. Yes. So like that, the world can't run without systems and procedures. You know, we need
Yeah,
system procedures. If everybody is honest, we don't need any systems and procedures because people are dishonest and people are corrupt all over the world, including you and me. And as a result, only we need systems and procedures that may not be 100% implemented, but we are nearing perfection. We can't have a perfect system. That I agree. So this entitlement is there, but still there are certain things now. In democracy, the cane of democracy can go up only to up to the nose. No, beyond that you can't. So even democracy.
Okay.
I mean,
yes,
what I'm suggesting is what you're saying is completely impractical and out of the current political, which
Right.
means which needs huge change. I mean, in a democracy, parties should be able to put forward candidates, but also there is option for any independent candidate to come forward. And it's the society who could put forward independent candidates. But you can't say no party can put forward candidates for a presidential election. That is not right. I mean, that is not right in Sri Lanka or anywhere in the world, as far as I know.
Yeah, in the present moment of time, you are correct. That is why we are going about out of the box situation, because present practice is for the 75 years we have tested and we have eaten the pudding, no, already. So that is why this is a difficult decision, I agree. But unless we do this, we will be back in square one and we will be doomed to this one, to the history of.
I think what Bernard is saying is that although it may be political party-based candidates, but they should appear as independent because the president is for the whole country. It's not for one party.
Yeah.
I think there's a point, and we can get around the issue of this the ability of the parties also to nominate by emphasizing the importance of the eligibility criteria, and
Right.
that eligibility criteria can be publicly made known to the people so that they know who these people are. And I thought the asset declaration is a very good point. And people also speak about the education of these guys who are coming to the parliament. So I think some information about their education and some information about their experience as leaders, and of course the police report. And in this context, I think even a case that is not true, but there is a prima facie case, like for example, we had Rajapaksas, two Rajapaksas, there was a court case and the judge said, yes, they are guilty, but we are not punishing. So that would be a serious matter to disqualify anybody from contesting. And then, of course, the integrity of the person. And I thought privately or secretly, commissioner or somebody can get information about, say, you can ask reference from maybe two religious leaders, the most common religions in that area, a clergy report, maybe two clergy report, the school principals, two reports, professional bodies, about three, non-governmental bodies, another three, like that. Finally, they have to say whether we recommend this one or not. So we have I think Bernard also has a list, some sort of a criteria that is very specific, and public can see this. Public can see, but of course, the people who vote should not be known by the politicians, otherwise they will punish them. So that way, the public comes to know whether they come from a party or as independent candidates is irrespective. But you get the point to the public. That's sort of my suggestion.
I think you are referring to the presidential candidates or the parliament.
I am referring to both.
Both.
Yeah, we can do this, and
No,
of course
I also have suggested robust eligibility criteria must be there even for independent guidance. But only thing, but I'm mentioning this now. When you have, I agree with the right to nomination by parties. I agree, but if in the light of what we have experienced, the present set of all the politicians, as you know, will anybody coming through a party will definitely get high number of votes than anybody coming as independents. So that our entire exercise will become a futile exercise. Definitely, the parties, however much these eligibility criteria, they will not conform to eligibility. That's why I said 2015 election, all the same thing. The parties agreed, declared everything okay, but none of them cared them two hoots for that kind of eligibility, unless the NEC should put them down.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, Jivanand.
That is the problem.
Leonard, you have any more? I'll go to Jivanand.
No, that's it. That's it. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Jivanand, yes, Jivanand. Yeah.
I think, we have to be pragmatic. That's what Ranjan has been telling us, all this time. I do not think that, proposing that only independent candidates should contest in the presidential election will work. I think, we will dilute our effort by going that route. We have to seriously think about it. Sure, I agree with Bernard and everyone else that, that would be
Now,
perfect one,
yeah,
but that's impractical. So I think we should stay away from that. And
yeah,
then uh, about what Leonard has been saying, essentially what he's saying is that we should some entity, government or whatever, uh, independent entity should take over the political campaigning responsibilities or the function. That is also is not going to work. Perfect, I mean, ideal, under ideal situation, that's how it should be. But those things are very difficult to implement. So we have to be pragmatic. uh,
Yeah.
I support that, what the approach in the NEC with these changes to the
yes.
general elections. I think we have to have a separate discussion on how to approach the oncoming presidential election in a different way. Thanks.
I think I
Yeah,
have a
thanks,
yeah,
Jivananda.
I
I
have
think,
a, yeah,
the primary selection criteria is something, not selection criteria, selection method that US is applying for presidential candidates is something we can suggest to the election commission, but let's see what they will do. I don't think we need to do all that, but we've got lots of good arguments that can be more pragmatic. So
yeah,
we'll focus on
yeah,
those and then
yeah,
go to the election commission
yes,
as others suggest. How about inviting Paffarel to join us?
yes, yes.
Can you contact them?
I can contact them, but only thing is they always acknowledge and don't go beyond that. I
No,
don't
no,
know why.
that's okay. But we will
Yeah,
say we are inviting in the letter itself. If you ring
yeah.
them, at least get the
Ah.
consent. We can say we are jointly submitting it, or we can say we are inviting Paffarel to join this
In this letter
discussion.
we can, so that let
So
NEC know
then we
about
can
it.
put their name at least to say that we have told them we invited them.
See, or we can copy it to a Paffarel
Yeah, but
and
at the end we
let them
can copy
know.
it as well.
In the
We
copy,
can
we can
put,
say you are also invited to participate in the committee, so that NEC also will know that Paffarel
yeah,
is also coming.
yeah, that will be a good idea. That will strengthen our arguments, and then we
Exactly.
will copy.
Yeah,
Jivananda,
yeah.
yes, you have another comment.
So, I had this question a couple of times. I didn't get a good answer. I tried to find out online also, I couldn't find.
Mhm.
What exactly is the function of NEC and what are their capabilities? My
Now
understanding is
Yeah.
leg- my understanding is that they don't have legislative authority. I mean, that would be a dangerous situation. That's what the parliament is supposed to do. So they can enact, they can perform elections under the existing rules and regulations approved by the parliament, but they cannot implement any new rules or regulations without the parliamental approval. Am I correct?
no, Jivananda, I don't know whether Bernard can answer that
Yeah,
because
technically, yeah. My response is now their objective is to ensure free and fair conduct of free and fair elections under this 103.2 Constitution article says. But as you say, I agree that they cannot be found fault for implementing the existing rules and regulations. They cannot be found fault by a court. To that extent, their powers are limited. But still for all, I think I am just trying to add a para to that to say that it goes like this. I think Professor will note this. I have sent it already to you by email today evening. This is the para. Understanding that your esteemed commission will meet the public on Wednesday. We seek a no, sorry. We are finally given the limited scope of the terms of references of your esteemed commission, we on behalf of Sarin voters who main stakeholders sincerely appeal to your commission to make your recommendations based on our voter proposals to the current presidential commission to inquire and recommend changes to election law reforms as they are in line with your given objective. So they
that
can
we can
only
do at the last
no,
saying,
make a we can make
That
a
we can, Bernard, add a statement at the end
yes,
saying,
that's
if you
right.
have no
That's one,
legal
yeah.
provision
Yes,
to implement any of those, please do
yes.
suggest it to the Reform Commission.
That's right. So I have
Yes.
added that. I have sent that draft letter also with a few other suggestions also. So they are. Can I now, if you have finished with this letter, can I make some observations, please?
You can send it again, so we can
I have
watch
already
all these
sent.
letters.
I have already sent it, but for the for sharing with others only, I thought basically what I was trying to see is now we are given about 8. No, we have discussed about 8 proposals in brief.
Yeah.
There is a danger in my what I feel is moment we confine our proposals to this 7, there is a possibility of election commission responding to that and close the chapter. So
No,
that
then okay, we'll see how far we can do. Don't
now,
put too many things, because we
now,
will not achieve anything if you put too many things.
no, but what I'm saying is we are going to a professional body. No, NEC is the most professional, highest body to go regarding the institute, what they call election laws and systems. That is the highest body. That is the most technical body also. So we should be able to show to them that we have already done our homework or research or whatever, and that we have, without leaving any gaps, any room for them to comment, we have to give a whole. I have prepared this. I think I have already sent you a list of things that we have explored and researched and found out these are the things that we need system changes. That these are out of the box. As most of the time, I think we try to dwell in the current situation, current as is situation, and try to draw conclusions that the as is situation, there's no point. We must look at the foresight to have look into the future and have system changes must be out of the box naturally.
Yeah. That's true. That is why I showed you at the very beginning how we should
Yeah.
address system changes.
Yes.
Now,
So,
Bernard, just to finalize, we will
yes,
draft this letter, and Jivananda said something about being more pragmatic and go forward along with that. That is also true. And also, I just want to answer to Jivananda's question about the election commission. During Yahapalana time, election commission was made independent. So I don't know how much of political power can influence the election commission. They will know once we suggest these things how much they can do. If they can't, then we can ask them to refer it to the election reform commission, isn't it? That's we can do. Yeah, that is in place
By
at
the
the
way,
moment.
by the way, is there a legislation that covers the commission? So why I am saying this is from my experience with environmental legislation in Australia. Normally, you have an act that covers certain area, for example, the election, and then that act refers to creation of certain institutions like this body commission, electoral commission, and then it also says they have the authority to prepare certain guidelines and procedures. So we should look into any act that says all these things. Probably these guys have the power to prepare procedures. And I think some of the things that we are talking about are procedures. And what Chula also mentioned, that this is supposed to be an independent body. So they seem to have a lot of authority, but we don't know till we look into the legislation.
Yeah. I mean, it's very complex, Leonard. I mean, as you say, there's no one act that we can refer to. Janaka is someone who knows all about the acts, and he sent me a big file. There are about 15 acts in parliament that covers this area. And there's another one. So I will send that to you just to keep you informed as to how complex it is. That is why I think we should go straight to the election commission and ask from them what they can do and what they can't. We just can't interpret it. I will forward that letter so you will know exactly, how many acts are there that's governing this problem. So it's not easy.
Yeah.
So Jivananda, yes, you have a question.
Yeah, just 2 quick points. So regarding the NEC capabilities, my understanding is that a commission can make recommendations to the parliament. They cannot implement them. The parliament has to approve them, then only they can
Right.
approve. Now, the other thing is, now, for example, in the US, there is an election commission. If somebody is violating the laws, they can appeal to the Supreme Court or the whatever the courts, and they will make the decision whether the somebody has violated or not, or the rules have been implemented or not. Going back to the item number 6, that Chula and Bernard, I think, we have to think very carefully about that. Now, if you go with, the votes cast, aren't you depriving the people, the population of that electorate or whoever, just because, they failed to come and vote?
No, no. If I put the question the other way, say, shall we say there are 10 seats for allocated, say, Galle district, okay? And then somehow you put a intimidation or something and prevent 90% of the people coming to vote, right? Put a violence or something. And then just 10% votes for some culprit who is there. And do you think we should give 40, say, whole number of seats to that 10% who came to got the votes? That is why we are saying we should give, because of this has been going on not just now, for years and years of exploitation of the system. So that is why we are saying, why don't we give seats to vote, people who are voting? If they're not voting, why should we give any seats to them? They're not interested in politics or
Okay,
political
yeah.
representation.
So you are putting the onus on the voter. Yeah, that I agree.
Yeah. That's what we are trying to do. But
But
that is
from
actually to
a
prevent the actuality, what is to prevent all these corruption that is taking place in the system, which we witnessed.
And I think in the ground situation there, sometimes you see people forcing others not to vote. That happens. So that's a special situation that happens. And therefore, I think what you are suggesting is very valid.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, okay. Thanks for all good suggestions and all the corrections that were
Yeah.
made. Bernard, if you can join with me, then we can finalize this letter and send it by the
Yes.
middle of the week or by the
Sure.
end of the week at
Yeah,
most.
yeah. Sure. I have drafted the letter and sent it to you
No,
today.
yeah, but with the various people's
can
involvement,
discuss.
it get very nicely
Yes.
corrected. And as you said, I
Yeah.
showed you what someone has done, which was
Yeah,
fantastic. So that is not so we put everybody's
right.
thinking into it so that it actually gets a lot stronger.
Sure.
That is what I want to do.
Yeah.
So we will submit it, and if you can just ask from Pepperell and then let me know whether they are happy with it, then I can say we've informed Pepperell to join this meeting as well.
You want me to wait now?
No, don't wait. Just ask from them so I can mention their name in the letter.
I can ask Pepperell tomorrow.
Yeah.
Then
Then
about
just send me a
letter,
text so I
yeah,
can then say that. Yeah.
about this letter that I sent, then we can discuss.
Say that we are seeking an
Yeah.
appointment with the commission, that we will want you to come and we will copy that letter to them. That's all.
That's right. I can do that.
Okay, that's a good one. Yeah. So then we
Yeah.
can mention their name in the letter itself. So they
Right.
get involved. That's what I am saying.
Pepperell, yes, Pepperell, only Pepperell.
Yeah, who else is there?
No, the others are not that forceful. They are also voter dedicated organization. Earlier they had this cafe, CAFFE. I think that also they're not very functional now.
Let's put Pepperell. That's fine.
Yeah, only Pepperell is the main one.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine. Okay, thank you all for today. Good discussion.
Welcome.
And let's try to see progress. And next week we want to discuss presidential manifesto. That's what we want to do.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Thank you.
Yes.
Bye.
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 Good night.
Good night.
Good night.